You ever leave a conversation and just feel weird? Kind of confused, totally drained, maybe even like you're going a little crazy, but you can't point to exactly why? Well, today we're going to talk about that feeling. We're diving into the quiet, almost invisible signs of psychological manipulation. It's a force that almost never shows up the way we think it will. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It gets right to the heart of what makes manipulation so tricky. It doesn't burst in like a storm with a bunch of obvious threats. No, it creeps in quietly. A lot of the time, it's even disguised as concern or just a normal conversation, which makes it so hard to see until you're already tangled up in it. And see, here's the big misunderstanding. We're all taught to look for these really obvious signs of control, right? Like someone giving orders or making direct threats. But real psychological manipulation, it works on a much deeper, much more subtle level. It's all about slowly, quietly changing how you think and how you feel until you start to question your own reality. So, where do the first clues even show up? Well, here's the thing. It's not in what the other person is doing. It's inside your own mind. It starts with this confusing fog of self-doubt that just starts to roll in. It usually starts with just a little whisper in your head. Maybe I'm just overreacting. You have a real valid emotional reaction to something, but then you immediately start telling yourself it's wrong. And that's no accident. A manipulator is an expert at making you believe that your feelings are totally out of proportion. So after you start questioning your feelings, that doubt begins to spread. It starts to infect your perception of reality itself. You'll find yourself thinking, wait, did they really say that? Did that even happen? And that constant second guessing of your own memory, that is a huge red flag. And this whole spiral of self-doubt, it almost always lands in the exact same spot. You decide it's your fault. You take on all the blame. And you need to remember this. Healthy relationships do not make you doubt your own sanity. Manipulative ones are built on it. Guilt becomes the manipulator's favorite tool. Instead of just asking for something, they'll imply things. They make you feel like their happiness is your full-time job. Suddenly, saying no or even just having a personal boundary makes you feel like a cruel, selfish person. And over time, you stop making choices based on what you want. You just choose whatever will stop you from feeling that awful guilt. Okay, so we've talked about what's going on inside your head. Now, let's zoom out and look at the external chaos. What does this manipulation actually look like? What are the behaviors you can watch for? You ever experience this? It's like emotional whiplash. One day, they are the kindest, most supportive person in the world. The next, they're cold, distant, and you have no idea why. This is so effective because it keeps you completely off balance. You're always chasing those good moments, trying to figure out what you did wrong to cause the bad ones. That unpredictability, it creates this really powerful, unhealthy dependence. Now, manipulators. They hardly ever tell huge, obvious lies. That's too risky. Instead, they use something way more insidious: selective truth. They'll give you just enough real information to sound totally believable, but they'll twist a few details or conveniently leave out some key context. And the result is you're never fully informed, which means you can't really make a clear, independent decision. Oh, this one is exhausting. It's a pattern that's designed to keep you on a treadmill, permanently trying to earn their approval. It doesn't matter what you do, it will never, ever be quite enough. You finally achieve a goal they set, and instead of praise, a new, even harder goal just appears out of nowhere. It keeps you totally focused on pleasing them instead of protecting yourself. This is a classic move to avoid any and all accountability. You try to bring up a real issue, something that's bothering you, and somehow by the end of the conversation, you're the one on defense. They might say you're too sensitive or that's not what happened at all. They're experts at turning the focus away from their behavior and putting it right back onto your reaction. All right, so now let's talk about how all of these little tactics start to build up into the most damaging and serious signs of manipulation. This is where you see the real cost of keeping things calm, what we call the price of peace. You find yourself tolerating things you swore you never would. You start making excuses for behavior that used to be a deal breaker. And it's not because your values have changed, it's because the emotional energy it takes to hold that boundary up, to resist, just feels too heavy. It's just exhausting. But all of these things, they all lead to one final critical sign. It's actually the quietest one, but it is without a doubt the most dangerous sign that you are in a deeply manipulative dynamic. This is it. You start editing your own thoughts before you even speak. You swallow your feelings, not because you're actually calm or at peace, but because you are terrified of the reaction you might get. You start avoiding any and all potential conflict. And that silence, that constant self-editing that you're doing just to keep things stable, that is not peace, that is control. But look, recognizing these signs isn't about blaming anyone. It's about finding your way back to clarity. Because that awareness, that's where you get your power back. So what do? Well, the first step doesn't have to be some big dramatic confrontation. It doesn't have to be a huge argument. The single most powerful first step is a quiet, internal one. It's about getting clarity for yourself long before you do anything else. And that first step can be really simple. The next time you feel that knot in your stomach, that wave of doubt or exhaustion, just pause for 1 second. Don't push that feeling away. Actually listen to what it's trying to tell you. Start looking for the patterns of behavior instead of just accepting the excuses for them. That's the moment the control starts to weaken. So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. A lot of the time, your gut, your intuition, that deep part of you, it recognizes the manipulation long before your logical brain is ready to admit it. The real question is, are you ready to listen?